Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
We are back for another Short Shifts episode. And we're here not with my man, Jeff Lavecchio, today. He's, I guess you can call it paternity leave. Just had his baby girl the other day. So I brought in a ringer. One of the smartest hockey guys I know, one of my best friends. We coached together at Miami of Ohio, but don't say that to him. Just say Miami University to him. It's Nick Petraglia, now with the Ohio AAA Blue Jackets. Trags, you ready to rock and roll?
Ready to go. Let's go, Toph.
10 minutes.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. 10 minutes on the clock. Now, Vechs and I did this a while back, but we wanted to get a bit of a goalie expert on here because we don't know what the hell we're talking about. And so what I want to ask you is I want to talk about goalies' hockey sense. Everybody likes to talk about goalies and being athletic and making saves and blah, 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 blah. But we know that hockey sense is one of the most important things for goalies. So as you talk to goalies or people in terms of teaching goalies, talk about goalie hockey sense from your expert goaltender knowledge.
Okay, so you're hitting on one of my biggest pet peeves for sure, right? I think the biggest cop-out in coaching is coaches that say, I don't know anything about goalies. They don't want to have anything to do with it. They stay away from the topic. They dump it on quote-unquote goalie coaches. But at the end of the day, we're all hockey coaches, right? And when you talk about hockey sense, it's probably, in my opinion, the most important skill that a goalie has, right? So they're hockey players too. And they're in a unique position where they play the entire game. They're standing in a crease. Most of what they do is observing, right? So if you're playing a 60-minute game and you face 30 shots, those shots are maybe 30 seconds of work, if you will, but so much more goes into the game. It's game management, it's reads, it's recognition. In my opinion, they have to be the smartest players on the ice because they have to know what's going on in all situations. So everything that they do in the crease, the decisions that they make come from the processing, the things they're seeing happen in front of them. So understanding the things going on, the reads they have to make, their defensive structure, every player's responsibility on the ice. The biggest thing a goalie has to do is try to stay a step ahead, right? When goalies can arrive early, when they get their feet set, when they know what's going on, the goalies that are most successful, the ones that are the most consistent, are the players that in most cases have the best intelligence, have the most knowledge.
So how do you teach that? How do you teach that as a coach, and how do you put goalies in situations where they can learn hockey sense in practice?
That's a great question. So the first thing I'm going to throw back to you is, how do you teach players hockey sense?
How do you put them in situations and you let them learn, and then you do some video with them and teach them.
It's as simple as that, right? You learn through trial and error. You learn through your experiences. You learn from every single situation that you're in. I will say there's more than one way to play the position, right? There's different ways to do things, no different than there's different ways to coach. There's different ways to play center, to play defense. Fundamentals are fundamentals. But when it comes to playing the game, hockey is hockey. So when it comes to teaching hockey sense, it's exactly what you just said. It's relationship-based. It's talking through situations. It's understanding, hey, what did you see there? What was your read? What are the options that this player had? What are the different things that could have happened?
Could you give like an example of that? Because I love that. But like, so what's a situation in the game, or what's a situation that you can replicate in practice where a goalie needs to make a decision, and then talk about the conversation that you might have with that kid in practice?
So let's just take a line rush, right? Let's say it's a 2-on-1. Okay. So all of the decisions that a goalie has to make and the things that they have to observe on just a 2-on-1. So first of all, what handed are the players? Is it a righty-righty, a lefty-righty? Is the passers or the puck carrier's stick blade to the inside, to the outside? Okay. What about the player on the other side of the ice? How much time and space do they have? Okay. Which defenseman is involved? Is there back pressure? Right? What's the spacing in the play? Is it something that developed at the far blue line? Is it a quick turnover where something is happening quickly? Right? You have to process all of those variables to make the decision, right? How am I going to play this in terms of my depth? Am I going to play this out extra far because I think, I can take away shot and take away net, and I trust that my defenseman's taking away the pass, right? Do I have to worry about a one-timer on the other side, right? What's my team's defensive philosophy? I know a lot of debate on this all of the time, but right now you see teams handling things differently on 2-on-1s defensively. Is my defenseman going to take away the pass and the goalie has the shooter? I think that's the thing that goes the furthest back in terms of what coaches would want. Are defensemen staying on their feet? Are they going to go long body and take away the ice? Or what we see now, are defensemen going to straight up pressure the puck to force the puck carrier to make, a quick decision? Are we going to put it in that player's hands to have to make, a skill play or a play under pressure? So all of those variables are huge, factors into the decision-making in the sense that a goalie has to have to make those reads.
Love that. Love that. A couple things that you've said that I want to touch on. Number one is arriving early. Yep. Number two is getting your feet set. Number three is depth. I think those are three things that are extremely important for goalie coaches to be speaking about with their goalies, or coaches to be speaking about with their goalies, as you alluded to earlier. Can you just talk about arriving early and getting your feet set? Skating is another thing that coaches don't do enough of with their goalies, but outside of hockey sense might be the most important skill that a goalie can have. So can you talk about arriving early, getting your feet set, how that relates to hockey sense, and how you kind of go about teaching that with your goalies? Yeah.
So that would be under the same level of importance for players, right? Like everybody wants players that can skate. The better you can skate, the more advantage you're going to have to get around the ice and have an impact. So for goalies, their movements are obviously very different. It's dynamic, it's short burst, it's edge control, it's playing between your posts, depth management. The balance and agility that goalies need to have on their blades is paramount to their success, right? So if you can't skate, you can't play. And I don't even care how big you are. If you're a massive goalie and you can't move on your feet and on your edges and have control of your body, you're in enormous trouble, right? So the importance of developing your skating skills physically, I'd put that at the top of the list. It's something that everybody's always going to want to work on and can get better at. So I'd say that's the number one physical skill. When it comes to arriving early, right? You mentioned that, getting your feet set, having your feet underneath you. That all comes down to me. It's about body control and athleticism. If you can arrive early, it not only gives you better control of your body, it allows you to use your fundamental base, right? And have that advantage, but it also allows you to take the extra look, to make a better read, to process more information. Because when you can arrive early, you can get that extra head check or shoulder check or eye check of, what's going on around me in the zone, right? And the game is so ever changing and dynamic. You look 1 second, 2 seconds later, the picture is totally different, right? So when you can arrive early, when you can get your feet set, it allows you not only to have that body control and the physical control of your fundamental skills, but it gives you the time, right, to make those reads and to gather information. At the end of the day, the hockey sense, it's all about knowing what's going on around you, what type of choices that you have, right? But the more information you have, knowledge is power. It's wisdom. The more information you have, the smarter you are, the better you're going to be. I don't care what you're doing, right? It's preparation. It's information. It's going to allow you to be successful. And
love that.
Having your feet set allows you to make better reads and better decisions. I think it's pretty easy to understand that anybody's going to be better at reading something if they're able to get settled and set. And I don't want to call it stationary, but if you're in a comfortable position versus moving and chasing and under pressure,
flailing around all over the place,
hard, right? So giving yourself every chance to have as much control of the situation, as much knowledge as possible, it is, that's critical.
I love that. All right, we got 10 seconds left. We're going to go a little bit further because I think this is an important one. I always thought, as it related to recruiting goalies and scouting goalies, that the ones that made it look easy were the ones that I really liked, and a lot of that was what we talked about. Like if a guy has to make, or a girl has to make, 5 acrobatic crazy saves where the other team had an open net, but they still made the save, like that to me is not a plus. That's a minus because they're probably not thinking the game. They might be in the wrong positions and they have to, get to a spot like that, as opposed to a goalie that gets there, gets set, and it hits them in the chest. Could you talk a little about that from a goalie standpoint? I'll give you a minute.
So that's exactly it, Toph, right? Goalies that make things look easy are going to be the ones that are the smartest players on the ice because they're a step ahead of everything, right? They've read what's going to happen. They've made their decision. They're able to get there. They're able to make it look easy, right? Now, there's always going to be those circumstances where you're going to have to do whatever it takes based on a bad bounce, an unbelievable play. Like you're going to have to make incredible acrobatic saves, even if you're an incredibly smart, high IQ player, right? But if you're always looking like that, if you're always flailing and swimming and you're playing in the white ice and you're out of control, that's a goalie that is just quite simply relying on athletic ability and probably reacting to what is happening rather than reading and processing what options are. And I mean, you nailed it. So give me the goalie every single time that understands the game and can make a read and make things look easy. Now you have to have competitiveness. You have to have that emotional fire, the things we want in all of our players, right? You got to be a competitor. You want to be a good athlete, but give me the smart player every single time. You can't make up for it. If you're not a smart player, you're not going to be able to survive at the highest levels, reach your potential, and you're not going to be consistent.
Love that. Going back to it, goalies are hockey players.
Goalies are hockey players
too. It's the same for players. All right, great job, Trags. And now it is your turn. So next on Friday, it's Trags' turn to turn around on me. Time's up, Shay's show.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.